if I
Where are
remember
we?
much more than you do. All right, so when we last left our heroes, the Octopodemos had successfully stopped the sacrifice of Khalifa's father. And with a well-planned and executed plan, is that Dave? Do you have background noise? Is that somebody has background noise? Sorry.
Oh yeah, that might be me. I'll mute. Sorry.
A well-planned and executed plan. You stopped the sacrifice. You brought him up to the top of the temple, and then sent the whatever surviving drow there were, sent them in the direction of the waterworks while escaping to the library. After this, you don't know if your allies, the Brigand Darth, stopped their sacrifice, but at least you know that the worst of the worst is averted. And at the same time, the Silvery Moon army is moving in and attacking the drow who no longer have the shadows to hide under. So you're in the library and you've got Khalifa's dad. What are you going to do?
So since I think everything happened extremely fast for him, even though he kind of had probably some warning that we were coming for him, I'd like to just recap for him what's happened, because he may not know that the rest of the army is pouring in. He may want to go and do something. So I tell him that we stopped the sacrifice. Today is Midsummer's Day, and this apparent important time has been averted. Here very shortly, I'm going to check in with your other son Obadiah via magical sending to assure that his half of the team was able to stop the other sacrifice in the Underdark of a powerful, good aligned drow. And I think Mother and the Archdruid are overseeing the forces retaking the city as we speak.
All right, great. And he's looking out the window. He says, the sun is shining. Yeah, if our army is fighting the drow in our home territory with the sun shining, it shouldn't be much of a competition.
I beg you to stay here and recover where it's safe, and let the soldiers that you've trained so well do their job. I think
that can't happen. If they're fighting, I need to be out there with them.
I kind of thought you might say that.
I want to help.
But we'll get you what supplies we can from your men that had holed up here in the library as a base of operations. There may be some extra equipment that you can use, and we'll see if we can get you back to them before we leave. But and I look around at my
Does one of you have an extra sword or short sword or dagger or spear or something?
We have extra exploding shuriken.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Extra exploding shuriken.
All right.
Yeah,
I sit between all of you.
I have a spear I've never used that I'm happy to give them as
Thank
well.
you.
Outstanding. And then I would like to cast sending to talk to Obadiah to assure that their half of the ritual stopping went down correctly.
I look forward to hearing this conversation.
Well, can't you be him now, or do I have to be him too? I'll be him
No.
too. So I'll say, brother, we've stopped the sacrifice, and father is safe in Silvery Moon. Please assure me that your team has been equally successful and that you are safe. And then Obadiah, actually, I don't know what happened. I didn't watch the video yet. I don't know what happened at the very end, but I assume that everything went down and we got drissed out of the crystal at the last minute.
He says we pretty much destroyed the society down here, but
so is the city in chaos?
Yeah, the city's in chaos.
Okay.
I want to help.
But people like Drist.
And then I'll send one more sending to him and wait for a response to ask and tell him that we have other urgent matters to attend, freeing other cities from the invasion by giants and apparently underlying influence from this evil Cooper Black and the monk order. Does he need us to save him? And then I'll wait for a response.
Yeah. Yeah, he says no. I'm gonna try to help stabilize things here, and then see what I can do to improve relations between whatever's left here and the people of the surface.
That does sound just like Obadiah. That is exactly what he would say. All right. Well, good. I just needed to get those communiques out of the way, and then I would see what the rest of the team would like to do. And I think we need to try to prioritize what city we need to go to next, unless we needed to bust some drow heads here before, but it sounds like they got it under hand.
I think that we know that finding Cooper Black has to be a priority. And our lead there is this Yugoloth contract. So that's certainly one thing we could be doing. I know there's other things on our plate, but I'm not sure if there's anything more important than that.
The Yugoloth contract concerns me, and I would remind you of the experience of that wealthy family in Waterdeep that had made a contract with a fiend. Now, clearly,
They
from
were
my
selling children, right?
yeah, they were trying to claim hundreds of souls from the city to give to the fiend. I guess they were devils, and were unable to produce because we thwarted their evil plot. And unfortunately, their not wager, but their I guess consolation prize or whatever.
Price.
Yeah, Khalifa doesn't make it sound so stupid. It was their own children. So we would be dealing with an entity that is very self-serving and making a contract that would benefit them. I'm not saying that's not the best choice that we have. I'm just saying it comes at a potentially heavy price. So the other options would be that we could investigate the other cities that are overrun by giants and see if we can get to the bottom of each of their plots and have tiny little clues closer to Cooper Black. Maybe less satisfying.
I want to do battling.
I told you, you can't talk.
I feel like we've been waiting a long time to go after Cooper Black. I mean, we know that he's the source of all these troubles, and I'm not sure that just going from city to city aimlessly is going to get us anywhere. If you told me that there was something to do in one of these cities that might get us closer to finding him, then I'd listen. But if it's just going to be wandering from city to city without much hope, then I think we need to try to make the best deal we can and keep our wits about us and know what we're getting into. But maybe contacting an Ultraloth is the right thing to do.
Well, we'll say that I have the Ultraloth contract and I hold it out to Ariel and I say I'm not going to stand in the way of this becoming activated. I think you've served the group very well by helping me free my mother, helping us free numerous cities and innocent people. And you're right. This Cooper Black who has eluded our grasp after a brief contact does seem to be behind it. I hope you know what you're doing, and I hand you the contract.
we'll just, I know this is a big step. Does anyone else have anything they want to do before we think about engaging this contract?
I think we need to be careful about the wording of said contract. And I think that we have to be, I mean, I don't know of any reason not to trust said, Ugoloth per se. I just would say we have to read very carefully into what their stipulations are.
Could Thrax summon the ancestors and do an augury on whether this is a good
I like it.
idea?
I like it. I like it.
You like it? All right, we got to come up with the phrase to ask because Thrax is not really a lawyer.
Well, I mean, the first thing we could ask whether the time is right. I mean, I don't know that's whether we should be doing this now. I mean, that's maybe not.
This line's propitious.
Wheel or woe.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right, so Thrax is going to summon the ancestors, and ancestors, I guess, are swirling around him, and he will say, my party wants to read some paper that has writing on it and summon a Ugoloth. Is this wheel or woe? And,
to find
Right.
Cooper Black, maybe.
to
Yeah.
find Cooper Black, yes.
Okay. And the ancestors give you an answer you haven't heard before. Their answer is nothing.
Huh.
Which is one
Silence.
of the options. No, they say nothing. That's one of the options
nothing.
in the spell description.
Interesting.
I'm gonna have to
Not
look at this.
obvious, eh?
Just like real prayers.
Yeah. What should I do? Oh. Hmm.
Well, guys, I
Well,
tried.
Well, if,
I'm at your service, Ariel. You've done nothing but give to this team, and I think I'm here to support you. I think I've come to see that he's evil, and I wish that I had never revived him after the battle at Candlekeep.
that's right. You did do that, didn't you?
If only I
Let's-
had known then just how evil he was.
Well, if no one else has any other business here, then I think we should, I will plan to attune to this Ugoloth contract. The last call from anybody else who wants to,
Again, the only other thoughts that I had were Mirepour,
yeah.
Neverwinter, and then Waterdeep, I guess,
I want to
um,
be Cooper Black.
were the three other cities that were under attack. Now, I mean, they're not all in dire need of immediate help, mind you, but
Yeah,
certainly.
let's remember what's happening in each of these cities. So we have,
Yeah,
So
could someone remind me?
oh man, I'm
That'd be
sure
great. I
Khalifa
have some
remembers
notes somewhere.
implicitly.
so I remember that was Waterdeep where the Cloud Giants were?
I believe Waterdeep is where the Cloud Giants were, and it has a small resistance, but the magical resistance crew, the Force Grey, I think they were called, were completely ousted, so they don't currently have any heroes. Neil, I guess we don't really know that he sits on the council, do we? Or do we? I don't remember. Anyway,
I think he probably. I thought he did tell y'all.
he might have. He might have told us. Yeah. And so I'm sure they'll contact him if there's any immediate need. But the Cloud Giants are ostensibly trying to create a benevolent sort of overseership. Although, it doesn't seem like it's a two-sided relationship.
I'm trying to remember, we did
fire-
get contacted by Mirabar though, didn't we? Basically saying SOS.
Yeah, they contacted Melvin because he had met with them when he was there, since they had a shrine, or a temple of Melora, and so he had met with them, and they reached out and said, we need help. I guess that's where the frost giants are enslaving people, but they have a resistance, and maybe some of the Goliath clan is helping organize a resistance. Does that sound right?
That's right.
And then Neverwinter is the fire giants, I think.
Yeah, fire giants in Neverwinter, and I think they're effing it up. I think it's bad there. I don't know. I don't remember. Is that how did that go? Did everyone flee Neverwinter? Jay, does that sound right?
Melvin, give me a perception check, or what are you good with wisdom? Let me see how well you remember the last message you got from them.
Perception or insight, either one of them.
Yeah, roll one of those
This is from Mirabar or for Neverwinter?
from Mirabar.
Yeah, because I thought they were in dire straits, if I remember, but
I got a 16.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You remember pretty clearly. You got a sending message. Seems like so long ago, but it must have only been a few days. The Temple of Melora contacted you, asked if anyone was coming to help you, and they said the giants and the general are working people to death in the mines.
The giants and the general are working people to death in the mines.
well,
And you do know that Mirabar is one of the city. Mirabar is sort of like Waterdeep. Nobody's allowed to leave.
Well, looks like this might be our next place.
So, Ariel, you think that you can strike some sort of deal with the fiend to tell you, what do you think, what are you hoping to accomplish?
well, the plan was to hope to strike some sort of deal because we knew that Cooper Black had a number of enchantments that made it impossible for us to find him via our normal magical means. And so I think what we were told was that this was our best chance of circumventing all of those enchantments that he had that made it impossible for us to find him. So we know that he's a big danger to the world and this plane. And
So is your hope to ask for some sort of homing device, or?
that's right. And I'm sure it wouldn't come cheaply. I mean, I'm sure there would be a cost, and I'm not sure what that cost would be. So the only question is whether to do this now, immediately, or as Khalifa said, we do know that there are people in distress in 2 cities. They've called out to us, and whether we should go to one of those cities first to try and assist, and then maybe learn something else. But I don't know that we're going to learn anything more about Cooper Black. I mean, we'll probably learn maybe something about this plot by the Shogun. He also seems like he's up to no good, and maybe was working together with Cooper Black at some point. Is that right, Jay? Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Do we have some
Shogun and Cooper
indication
Black?
that Shogun and Cooper Black were working together? Or
Why don't you give me a perception check?
okay, very good. I have perceived a 16.
Yeah, no, you haven't heard any indication like that.
What is that?
I think you're thinking that the Drow and
Oh, that's
the
right. Yes,
yeah, and the Shogun were working together.
that's what it was. And the Drows had some contact with Cooper Black, but it was not clear that. I mean, it was not
Why do you have
working together kind of relationship.
Wait,
Yeah.
I thought there was something in the High Priestess's journal.
Well, you can read it. You still got it.
We
Right.
found a plan and the means to carry it out. The monks of the Shining Hand, fine suppliers of slaves to the Empire for decades, have some grand plan for world domination. They already sense their plans are beyond their grasp and have asked for our assistance in taking Silvery Moon. That seems to me pretty strong evidence that they're working together, doesn't it?
Well, it's the Shogun is working with the Drow, right? But
Yeah.
the
Maybe I misunderstood what we were asking. I'm sorry.
If Cooper
No.
Black was working with the
because
Giants,
yeah, because Cooper Black, it seems like this also on this page 27 in the notes there. Our Dark Lady has had communion with Orcus, who asked her to give his wand to Cooper Black, basically.
Uh-huh.
So what we know from the High Priestess's journal is that he may be coming into possession of Cooper Black may be coming into possession of the wand of Orcus, which we know is bad news. That's what it was. So the Yugoloth was going to help us find the wand of Orcus, and we know that the wand of Orcus is in possession of Cooper Black.
Ah,
We know that's very bad news.
So the wand of Orcus is the goal either way, right? Like, so either he's got it already or he doesn't, but if we're following the wand of Orcus, we're preventing him from getting it.
Correct. We definitely do not want him to have the wand of Orcus. That's
yeah. Well,
big
the
bad.
High Priestess said, yeah, that was what we were told to do. We were told to trade to. The only thing she knew about Cooper Black is they were told to trade him the wand of Orcus for a soul,
okay.
and they didn't even care about the soul. They just were told to do this thing, and they had to charge that price.
So we're not getting a Cooper Black pointing compass necessarily.
We're getting a wand of Orcus pointing compass, I believe. Now that I remember a bit better. So the question is whether we are.
It's like if somebody was trying to track your pocket knife, AJ, then they'd probably find you too.
That's true.
Um,
It's closely attached to me.
so the question is that the plan now, or do we want to first go off to one of these other cities? It's not. I mean, I don't think Ariel wants to go to one of these other cities because. This Shogun seems like a distraction. I mean, he may be doing things.
I
that
believe Brambrick is in favor of following up Cooper Black.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's what he had said earlier is do something he's got going on.
As you're having these discussions, Ludufius has left the building, and you're hearing. I mean, you have a good view of the hole in the ground, and you're seeing Drow warriors just pour into that ground, and it sounds like it's pretty much a rout. You're not hearing a whole lot of pitched battle. You're just seeing the Drow go into the ground and seeing some high elf and other Silvery Moon soldiers coming in and looking pretty confident just by looking out on the square there.
No, we definitely don't need to stick around here. Can we send the?
I'd like to cast one more sending, but if we think we're going to teleport from here to somewhere else, then I'd like to at least contact my mother, who's probably with the Archdruid, and make sure that they don't need anything else from us before we leave. I mean, but otherwise, yeah.
So should we give thumbs up or thumbs down on firing off the scroll?
I mean, I think the question is, do we want to go help the Mirabar people who are freaking out, or do we want to just go fire off the scroll?
I feel some responsibility to the Mirabar people, but I also think that solving the Cooper Black problem might solve some of these bigger, some of these the problems that seem more immediately at hand.
The problems that seem immediately at hand might be symptomatic of Cooper Black's.
I don't think that's true, right? Because I mean, from what we learned in this journal, I think there's the Shogun plan happening and there's the Cooper Black plan happening. And I don't think they're the same plan. They're both bad. I think Ariel's more concerned with the Cooper Black one. Other people could have different ideas, but
Cooper Black, Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, Schmax is obviously very concerned about the Shogun plan and the monks of the Shining Hand.
That's
What does our owl think?
Okay. At this point, one of the paper birds that you've seen before flies in, lands on Khalifa's shoulder.
look, I see it.
And
Not to learn this trick. This is amazing.
it's from your mother. And she says, I can't believe you. Or no, she doesn't say I can't believe it. She says, you did it. This is amazing. We're retaking the city. Come meet us just south of the city.
Okay, well, that should be fairly easy if the city's free to move about again. We're kind of in central city, maybe. I don't know. Maybe would you guys think that touching base with the army here before we leave would be worthwhile? Maybe the Archdruid has communicated with someone in Mirabar through their network of the bosses of diligence, or what are they called? The lords of
The Lord's Alliance, or
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Lords Alliance.
I do like the bosses of diligence better. I think we're calling them that from now on.
Stop touching things.
Well, I think that even if we are planning to activate the contract, it makes sense to finish what we're doing here at Silvery Moon. And of course, we should go speak to your mother before we do anything else.
Check in with upper middle management of responsibility.
Indeed.
What?
All right. Well, yeah, and I don't think if with all this talking, I don't know if we've been able to take a short rest. If anyone was damaged in the fray before we left that needed to heal up or anything.
Let's say that's done.
Okay. All right. Then let's do that, and perhaps it will give us some additional information to help our decision.
By the way, and everyone should consider themselves inspired by me and add 15 hit points now.
Ooh,
boy.
15.
Love it.
What on earth does that put?
I look
I'll
around
do the, I'll
with
set
one
up.
last fond look at the library, and trying to treasure the last few days that we spent here, wondering if it maybe is the last time I'll ever hang out in these stacks of books. Yeah, so little tear.
Okay. So do you go out towards the south side of the city?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, you go out, you see soldiers moving fairly freely. They see you and they nod. Some of them look sort of awestruck. They've obviously been talking about you. Some officers say to you, Khalifa, your mother and the other city leaders are just to the south of the city. They've been asking about you. And blah, blah, blah.
Are you going to let him talk about your mother like that?
When I say south of the city.
Hey, Daddy.
All right, let's go find them. Make sure that everything's in hand. It sounds like they're happy.
All right. So you go and there's an encampment set up, and it looks like they were there over the previous night, and there's sort of a tent city set up, and a lot of civilians are there. Some of them have started walking back into the city. Most of them are still milling around. And you pretty quickly see your mother. She runs up to greet you. Oh, Khalifa, this is so amazing. And your father had gotten there ahead of time. So she's with him. And
Quick.
she says, oh, you did it. You rescued your father. This is amazing. So great. And she says, I never
tried. We couldn't keep him away from battle. I mean, as soon as someone offered him a spear, he was out the door. In his
Says,
defense, we were kind of bickering about what the next steps were, so there wasn't much interesting going on.
She says, well, that's all taken care of for today. So we're fine. She says, I never had a doubt that you would succeed. And in fact, while we were in exile, I talked to some of the artisans, and I had this made for you. And she pulls up a small statue made of ivory. And the statue, it's about this big, and it's of you sitting there reading a book. And it's ivory. It's got gems decorated it. It appears to be worth approximately 1,500 gold pieces.
Oh, no, that's pretty.
And she
That's
says,
pretty.
Sell it immediately.
I know you're not the kind to have statues of yourself around, but I'm going to tell you what a hero I think you are. And this will be very useful when you cast this spell. And she hands you a scroll of contingency.
Excellent.
Which is it's the if then of D&D spells.
Yeah, I've I've heard of this spell. This will be very useful. Yeah, no, Mother, I can't begin to express my gratitude for this. This is wonderful. Thank you very much. And I'll do some sort of like kneeling or bowing, whatever the custom is.
Mhm. And so while you're doing that, walking up nearby is a man that you recognize, Khalifa. He's Elias. He's the archdruid of Silvery Moon. And he's got a long, wispy, it's light brown. It's not gray, but he's sort of disheveled, long, wispy beard. And he says, oh, these are the heroes of the day. Oh, thank you so much. We saw your signal. And he looks straight at you and Neil. He says, are you the one that is called Brambrek? No.
No, that is no. I'm just a wee person. Halfling.
One of you is called Brambrek,
is very
correct?
large. Brambrek is very large.
Okay, so you point him to Brambrek, and he pulls out a dead raccoon and says, "This is for you." And he's holding up a dead raccoon, and hanging off one of the legs is like a mini pearl tag that says, you can see it says, "Deliver to Brambrek." So Brambrek takes this dead raccoon. And as he does, some of you can notice, especially the ranger who's so in touch with nature, you notice the raccoon's arms are very floppy, like more floppy than you expect from a dead raccoon. But its torso is like very cylindrical. And so Brambrek
Is it really
Does it-
a raccoon, or is it just a weasel that somebody's painted stripes on?
and Brambrek says, "You've got a lot of good questions, Melvin. Here, check this out." He hands it to
Okay.
you.
So can I? Yeah, I second nature. Can I do a survival check on seeing whether I think this is something that I would actually eat or not?
Sure.
Yeah, with the help of the ponies, of course.
Second.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch wants to help you out.
All right, I got a 24.
There you go.
I may need it on the intelligence check, the nature intelligence check that he's going to make me roll to find out what it actually is.
I don't know if I told you I was went through a bunch of papers a couple weeks ago, and I found the list of like the 40 pony names I had written down in one of our first sessions for
Nice.
guidance. Yeah.
So how'd you do?
24.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you can tell immediately it's something odd. It's a raccoon skin. It has no bones in it. I mean, you can tell that's what's up, but it's got something inside it. And you can tell from looking at it that you can tell that the mouth probably opens up more than
It's just packaging.
you would normally expect it to.
Okay.
It's Amazon's new packaging.
Yeah, it's like cushioned. Brambrek, I'd be really. I mean, is there the thing that's in whatever's inside it? Can I tell? Is it alive?
It's not moving. No.
Okay.
It's cylindrical.
I don't know what this is, Brambrek. It might just be, your monthly allowance from your parents, but this is not actually a raccoon. You probably already know that.
So Brambrek reaches over, he pulls the mouth, and the mouth opens, and it opens, and it opens, and then he pulls out a jar. And he looks at the jar and sort of grumbles to himself, sticks it in his bag.
What's he do with the raccoon skin?
Well, the raccoon skin, you also sense that there's something magical about it. So if you take some time to study it,
I think I will.
I put it in the
She,
It's a raccoon skin of holding. Oh, nice. Love you. Sweet.
I got this
Oh,
idea
cool.
from my French speaking children.
I wonder if I could make some kind of cap out of this, or maybe not, I'll just tie it on my belt for now.
Okay.
Raton Laveur. That's very useful.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
There's a town in New Mexico called Raton. I had no idea that that meant raccoon in French.
Oh, it means rat.
It's rat, wash
That's what I
rat,
thought. Okay,
Wash rat.
which I think is what French call raccoons.
all right.
The washing rat. Hmm.
Or in Spanish, mapache.
So Raton isn't in I thought it was in Colorado. Or is there,
It's on the
are there
border. It's,
multiple?
it's just south of the border.
Yeah,
Okay.
the pass is in both, but the city is in Mexico.
Okay. So the High Druid is happy to see all of you and says, "Oh, wonderful job with Silvery Moon. Any thoughts about what's going on in the wider continent?"
We'd love insight from you if you've had any communication with the Lord's Alliance. We do know that there were, I think I already told you some of this stuff, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but there were cloud giants taking over Waterdeep, fire giants basically drove everyone out of Neverwinter, ice giants, frost giants enslaving people in Mirabar. There were hill
Yes,
giants.
terrible.
There were hill giants in Baldur's Gate, but we were able to arrange for them to be kicked out or to leave rather.
It's terrible. The peace has been kept between giants and small folk for centuries by the storm giants, and I don't know why King Hecaton isn't stepping in to help with this. I understand that I understand that the head of Waterdeep has reached out to him, but to no avail. This is mysterious to me. I had thought better of King Hecaton.
Yeah, and the King of Waterdeep was fairly close with him, from what I understand. Even attended his wedding and so forth.
As did I.
Some of the-
As did I. I met her there. Yes.
Some of the other investigation that we have done seems that the child, the offspring of the King Hecaton, may be coming of age sometime soon. I think, if I remember correctly, and we didn't piece together any specific reason that would be germane, but
I haven't had interaction with his son. I received the birth announcement many decades ago, and as I told you, I attended his wedding. But aside from that, I haven't had any contact with the king's court. Only, I mean, I did attend the wedding, and it was a very special evening. Very special evening. There's a female storm giant who also shared my interest in nature, and we discussed nature long into the night, long into the night. And those of you who are good at insight, the way he's talking about this female storm giant, they totally kissed each other.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They went,
That's fine.
to use a phrase, they went south of the city.
It's like, yes, Katya, she was quite knowledgeable about nature. Could tell me many things that not many small folk know, and I haven't communicated with her much in this past century, but she's a very special person.
Do you know how you could get a hold of her? Do you have a way?
Yes, I do have a way I could contact her. I haven't done that recently.
What was the son's name? What was the storm giant son's name? Do we know that?
August.
August.
What month was he born?
I forget. I'm sure it's written there somewhere.
Plain air.
So yeah, he says, yes, I hadn't contacted her. I was allowing things to go through official channels. During a war, you don't want to cause confusion, but perhaps that would be best.
Well, we feel like we are equipped to try to help with intervening in much of this stuff that's turned the world upside down. But we don't know step one about how to try to reach the storm giants in order to ask them to intervene, or figure out why they have chosen to let the other giants wreak havoc over the continent, or whether they have commanded it themselves for some unknown reason.
Oh, I can't
so-
believe that would be the case. I can't believe. You know, let me find my method of contacting her. And he goes into his tent and he's rummaging through things, and finally he pulls out a pineapple. And he talks to the pineapple. He says, Katya,
Oh, you speak with plants?
not this is
I speak
this
with
is
plants
not
too.
exactly a pineapple. This is I'm on the line. Katya, this is Elias. Do you remember Elias from Silvery Moon? And he's waiting for like about a minute. He says, "Oh, yes, Katya. Have you heard what's going on the continent? Giants have attacked many cities, Katya. We are imploring Cloud Giant help in quelling this war that's brewing." And he waits for a second and he says, her response is that it's impossible. She says there's no violence between giants and small folk. It's impossible. And she says the king has checked. King Hekaton has checked himself, and it's confirmed there's no violence between giants and small folk. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why she's so confused, but she was adamant that there cannot be violence. I'm going to respond. Katya, this is Elias again. I swear to you, I have witnessed it with my own eyes. I witnessed stone giants with my own eyes, and I have it on very good authority that other giant tribes have attacked other cities. I swear to you, this is not a misunderstanding. There is violence between giants and small folk. And he waits for a bit, and he says, okay. She has offered to come here and discuss with us personally this evening. So she will visit, and hopefully we can clear up this misunderstanding, because obviously the storm giants think there is no violence between giants and small folk. So this will help significantly.
I hope so. Is there any special ceremony that we should recognize because of past relationships, or do you think that would be inappropriate, given that that there's a breach in their previous agreements with the small folk? Meaning, do we need to have a feast or roll out the red carpet?
No, quite the opposite. I think we should keep things quiet. I think by this evening, most of the city people will have moved into the city. I think we'll probably meet her right out here and keep things quiet. We don't want to start a panic by having a giant show up. She's not going to want a big ordeal made out of her. If you would like to speak with her, your mother, you can certainly meet with her.
How is she related? How is she related to the king? Is she just a courtesan, or is she?
She's one of his advisors.
Advisors. Okay.
His advisor specifically with nature magic.
Oh, right. That's kind of your jam, isn't it? Okay. Well, Ariel,
I think it's all right to wait a few hours. I mean, I certainly am eager to track down Cooper Black, but this does seem like an important clue to the mystery of what's been going on the continent, and certainly surprising to hear that the storm giants don't know anything about what's going on, and we need to know why that's the case. So I think it's all right to wait to get this information, and then we can decide how to proceed.
and I'm sure any of you that have studied logic will recognize that Akim's razor would dictate that the simplest solution is probably the correct one. So it may be that
No idea what that would be in this case.
Cooper Black.
There is no violence between giants and small folk.
But perhaps Cooper Black has gotten his hand in the storm giant powers to oversee all the giant clans and is behind this in some way or another after all. I don't know.
Well, at least we want to rule that out. So if we could find out there's a lead with the storm giants, that does sound preferable to dealing with the Yugoloths. So I think it's reasonable to see what we can figure out.
Agreed.
Okay, so you'll meet me back here after dark.
Sounds like a plan.
So as you're milling about, you hear, you can't make out the words, but you hear a familiar rhythmic chanting. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Sort of
Oh no.
from a distance. Sort of from the other side of the settlement.
Hmm.
Is that the cult of the?
Peklan Robah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds a little more organized than you've heard before. It looks like there might be some sort of rally happening.
Seems like we've got to deal with Cooper Black sooner rather than later.
Let's maybe we can get some leads from them in some way. I don't know. This it didn't seem like the last group was the sharpest tacks in the drawer, but maybe some of these have more idea on where their beloved leader is, fabricating these red hats with white letters on them or whatever.
All right, so do you go that direction? Do all of you go that direction?
I guess I just said that, but I think still having a reunion with my mother, so I'll hang other people go.
I would certainly go that direction. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If there's music, I'm going to that
too.
direction.
Okay. So everybody but Khalifa, let's say. All right. Start walking that direction, and it does appear to be. It's more organized than you saw at than the group coming back to Baldur's Gate. It's there's a rally happening, and there are people even handing out flyers as you approach. I was going to get these in the mail to you, but much like Christmas cards, they did not get in the mail to anyone. So yeah, there are people handing out flyers, sort of giving the same spiel. Can you believe Pekla Rabak? It cleared the giants out of the city when nobody else could. This is amazing. And they're like, shh, listen. And you see, it's sort of a circular rally, and in the middle, on top of a large rock, there's a woman sort of leading the rally. Jones or somebody, can you put on mute? Sorry. There's a woman leading the rally, and Ariel, you look at this woman, and the last time you saw her, she had light brown hair. The last time you had her described to you, she had rainbow colored hair. But as you look at this woman, her hair is completely white. But aside from that, you recognize her as Ursula. And she is on top of the rock, extolling the virtues of Pekla Rabak and how it prevents death, and only belief in Pekla Rabak can keep you from giants, and that the gods didn't save anybody. The gods didn't save people from giants, and the city government couldn't save people from giants. None of the established powers could save people from giants, but Pekla Rabak did, and all the people's belief in Pekla Rabak, that's what got rid of the giants and returned their city to them. And the people are eating it up. I mean, they're really loving this. Do you do anything?
Fume.
Well, I certainly want to know. Ariel certainly wants to know how Ursula went from working for Princess Celestia to being on top of a rock, extolling the virtues of Pekla Rabak. So, so she's like mid rally here at this point.
Oh yeah. As you watch for a minute or so, and she's going, she's not running out of material. It seems redundant to you, but she's making it happen. And as that happens, Ariel, you feel something. You feel like two claws land on your shoulder. It's as if a bird landed on your shoulder, but you don't see anything there. It's like as if an invisible bird landed on your shoulder. And then while you still hear Ursula's voice leading the crowd, it gets a little more, a little less creative, a little more redundant as she's talking. But you also hear Ursula's voice right next to your ear. And she says, "Oh, you're here. The favorite one has showed up. Celestia's favorite has come to visit me. I should be her favorite. I actually did something. I made progress in finding Cooper Black while you went off to play with your friends. I did more to find Cooper Black and complete the mission than you ever did. I was supposed to be her favorite, but then you come back after disappearing, and suddenly you're her favorite again. Celestia didn't have any need for me at all. She just forgot about me. She didn't know I was there. So I found somebody who did appreciate me. Celestia doesn't need me. I don't need her."
Guess that answers that question.
And at that point, you start to feel a shock through your shoulder. What's your armor class? I rolled a 19.
That hits for sure.
Okay. All right. So let me see. Do I have so yeah, you feel this jolt go through your shoulder. I don't think, let me pull up. Are people on roll 20?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Give me a second.
Both.
Okay, so you feel this jolt go through your shoulder. Ooh,
Holy smoke.
gives you 40 points of damage. And as
Okay.
you feel the shot go through you and you think it's done, but then you feel yourself sort of jerked out of your body. You're pulled into this celestial realm, and you
Ariel,
see,
what's wrong?
yeah, Ariel just looks like he's like stunned in front of you. But Ariel, from your point of view, you're pulled into this wasteland of fungus and spores, and you can barely breathe. And then you're pulled into this land of demons that are clawing at you. And then you go into one land that is covered in spiders. And one spider queen looks at you and she reaches out to you. But right before she gets to you, you're then jerked to a final scene with, you see a grand throne room filled with zombies and skeletons. And sitting on the throne, exactly as he's been depicted in every picture and description you've ever heard, is the Lord Orcus. He does not hold his wand, but aside from that, it's just like he's always been described. And he looks straight at you, and then you're jerked back into yourself. And when you do that, you take
You gain.
you take 72 points of psychic damage.
Another 72 on top of the 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, the good news is I'm at 2.
Okay. So you come back to yourself and you're like barely standing, and as Ursula's preaching up at the top, she points at you and says, that man seems to be weak in his knees. He seems to be having a health issue. He must not believe enough in Pekler Abak. Let's all chant Pekler Abak to that man so his faith can be strengthened and he can have the strength to stand. Pekler Abak, give him strength, Pekler Abak. And you're like, glad Neil gave you that inspiring speech. You're
Yes,
holding
I
on
am,
to
yeah.
that. You're holding on to that. Anything anybody would like to do?
Jay, how many people are around?
And the whatever was on your shoulder flaps its wings and flies away. How many people? Easily 150, 200. Yeah.
So, since from our perspective, he hasn't been attacked, Do we know that he's been hurt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
He's been hurt. You know he's been hurt badly.
Okay, then I am going to cast Healing Word on him. Or nope, take that back. Cure Wounds. I will cast Cure Wounds as a 2nd level spell.
Okay. And
Gives you. Sorry, go
It's
ahead.
gonna make her illusion come true, man.
I was gonna say, as Ariel goes from like looking like he's about to pass out to being more steady on his feet, Ursula sees it. She says, "Yes, yes, thank you, crowd. Thank you. You've given him strength. You've given him strength. You can see the color coming back into his face from all of our beliefs and all of our belief in Pekler Bach. Thank you, thank you. You get your hand off him. You are touching him. You are a follower of the old religions. She's saying you're a follower of the old religions.
Damn right.
It could not save us from the giants. Who do you think helped this man who is about to faint? One follower of an old religion who couldn't stop giants, or 1,000 followers of Pekler Bach? There aren't 1,000. 1,000 followers of Pekler Bach chanting and giving him his energy. We gave this man energy. We did. Your hands off him. Neil, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I stand up as tall as I can, puff out my chest, and I say, this is nonsense. Pekler Bach has no power whatsoever. This was my friend here who gave Ariel his strength back again. You have nothing on our magic and on the Octopodemos.
Your friend who follows a god that could not even stop the giants from taking over.
I'm going to
Pekler Bach.
cast Silence
Okay.
on her.
And
Make it so.
she's moving her mouth and you can't hear her, but the crowd is still chanting Pekler Bach.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up my drums and I'm gonna do a performance.
An enthralling performance
to try to get the crowd to turn.
I mean, during the 1 minute that she's in silence, when she doesn't even care, she's still going on, she's still gesturing, and
I think it's time to let's withdraw and we can track her.
Strategic withdrawal.
Yeah.
well, I mean, if Neil wants to do the performance during the 1 minute that she's silent, you do, and you get a couple of fans, but I mean, I think what's the most you can convince? 3 or something?
Well, I'm gonna convince them of the power of randomized control trials, and they shouldn't believe. There's no about the difference causation and correlation, because it
Read the
doesn't seem like
gospel of-
Pekler Bach has.
Look, every single
Follow
person
the
who's
science.
every single person who's more science literate is better for all of us. So
Just two. We got two more.
All right, yeah, you do have a
Go spread the
jaunty
word.
little tune
Spread the
about ad hoc and post hoc evidence or something, but yeah, and a few people really dig your performance, and the rest of them is like they just treat it as a good rhythm to chant their Pekler Bach. And in case there was any like in-game, out-of-game confusion, now you have a piece of paper with the words Pekler Bach written on it. So I don't know if we want to catch up in-game to where we were out-of-game. Meaning,
did we
Holy
never
smokes.
figured that out in game?
I mean, I whatever
might
you
not.
think is best, but
no,
you've
we
now
might not
got it
have.
written on a piece of paper. So
Yeah.
And what does it spell again?
Cooper Black.
Oh
You rearrange
Dun,
these letters, you get Cooper Black. So it seems that Ursula
my goodness.
has completely switched from serving Celestia and preventing evil coming into this world to being someone who is a harbinger of evil and is trying to bring it upon us. So now she also is someone that must be stopped.
Maybe she's just confused.
Well, it seems like that confusion has caused an awful lot of trouble, as these 200 people will attest to.
Okay, so you remove yourselves from the situation.
Mhm.
Okay.
So again, if we can cut off Cooper Black at the knees, then Peckler Obach won't have anything to back it up. Other than mass
As
psychosis.
opposed to now. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, sorry. Go on.
No.
I mean, it doesn't have much to back up now. That's what I was saying.
Well, all I mean is it's a mass psychosis that isn't doing much yet, right? Like it's discomforting, but it's not doing anything particularly.
Well,
Now,
the question, sorry.
Yeah. Go on.
Well, I was going to ask whether or not we're worried about Ursula.
Worried. You just took 111 points.
Yeah,
of
well,
damage.
I'm worried about taking 111 damage, but are we worried about her spreading the gospel of Peckler Obach throughout the land? We have knowing what we know about Cooper Black. I mean, is she's someone we need to deal with immediately, or as Breezy, you're going to suggest, should we just try and immediately go to the source and find the wand of Orcus and see
What
we
does
can-
dealing with her look like?
Well, it probably means wait till there's not 200 people around.
And then kill her.
That's one possibility. I just took 112 damage, so
Maybe convince her to meet us before the storm giant comes, so that we can talk. I guess I'm not quite there yet. I'm probably still talking, so that's just John saying that, not me.
Guys, I've been reading this literature, and I'm just gotta say, I mean, like this whole Peckler Obach's not a person or a god. It's just it's a way of thinking that empowers you. I'm kind of grooving on this, guys. I mean, it's like they want me to give them some gold pieces to buy in, and then they're going to send me some stuff, and all I have to do is sell it to other people and maybe bring some of them in.
I hear you get
Does,
points for every
does
person you
anyone
bring
know
in.
what an anagram of Tony Robbins is?
Yes, it's a real landmark idea.
I just like being empowered. That's all I'm saying. Okay, neither here nor there. Sorry, didn't mean to derail. Just replacing my thoughts of giants. Sorry, carry on.
well, so AJ, or sorry, Breezy, were you going to suggest trying to deal with Cooper Black directly as a way to cut off this Peckler Obach nonsense?
I'm just trying to push us in one direction or another. We've got a lot of things competing for our attention.
We sure do, as usual.
Yeah, so we can go up to Mirabar. We can deal with her. We can look for Cooper Black. I mean,
We
it's
got
kind
the
of
giant coming this evening, right? So that's
yeah. So we wait on the giant coming this evening, but after that, which direction do we jump?
probably reforging Blaze, right? That's probably the thing we do next. That seems like the highest priority. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to go a direction. I'm not really clear what direction is the right direction. I just know we want to go a direction.
Well, I think Ariel at this point is not messing around with Mirabar anymore. He is interested in either activating the contract of the Yugolos or dealing with Ursula directly.
Ursula did say that she had information about Cooper Black.
Did
I mean,
she?
it seems like she's
She said that she had made more progress towards reaching him than anybody else. Well, I take that back. I'm metagaming. This is
That's
something
what
he told you.
That's what Ariel
Yeah.
just told you. Yeah.
That's what I just told you. That's right. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So, you know, we could try to corner her and find out exactly what she knows about him. I mean, that might be preferable to activating a Yugoloth contract. But we're gonna have to find a way to separate her from 250 followers. I don't know. We could, Neil, do you have mass suggestion or something like that?
Something to deal with that many people. Do not.
I mean,
Well, are there plants around?
I mean, yes, you're outdoors. Yeah.
So, I mean, we could. So, how far is she from the rest of the people? She's up on a rock.
Pretty
right?
close. Yeah, she's pretty close. They're sort of all around her. She's just using the rock to get a little bit above, it's like a speaking platform.
Yeah. So, just I mean, thinking out loud amongst ourselves. I did pick up plant growth. So if we could get some separation between her and the rest of us, I can create a pretty big barrier from, 100, I think it's 100 yards of plants. But we'd have to get her and then create that separation. Actually, Jay, what's the configuration of the people who are behind her? Is it like an amphitheater and it's like
No, it's sort of it's a circle. They're in a circle around her.
they're in the round? Okay.
Yeah.
Fear would not work very well.
I'm just going to do a little pickpocketing just because we're here and there's a big crowd. Don't really
Right.
need anything, but just,
The recreational pickpocket.
Idle
recreational.
hands are the devil's work.
All right.
That's right. Itchy
Yeah.
thumbs.
You work your way around. You get 2 gold pieces and 7 silver pieces
Good.
from the first 2 people you hit.
That's great. It's not really about the money.
How far away is how far away is she from us? Or
I
from
give the
them?
money to Schmax.
I mean, the
Oh.
rally from where Latifa is probably half a mile.
Half a mile. Okay. So around this time, I wander up to the rest of the crowd. Like I'm done with talking because I told them I would catch up. And so maybe I'm catching up right around now.
All right.
Oh, Jay,
Yeah.
I totally used the Tomb of Shutterfly, by the way.
Okay.
So are we waiting just for Night to meet with the giantess? Is that what's happening right now? Or are we doing something specific?
Yeah, I guess I was going to ask the same thing.
Maybe when we meet with the giantess, we can find out if she knows any giant assassins who could strike down Ursula and thereby disprove the whole belief in Pekla Rabak idea.
That's true. Killing her would go a long way toward proving it can't keep you alive forever.
Exactly.
It's a bloodthirsty solution to a bloodthirsty problem.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, do you do anything until nightfall?
Well,
So what before we leave, can I ask Ariel, like how wise is Ursula?
How what? Sorry.
How wise is Ursula? Theoretically.
I don't
on, like, the
know. I
wisdom
have to
saving
say,
throw.
like
You don't know.
I only know as much about her as all of us, really. I mean, she entered into a pact with Celestia while we were all off in Barovia, and I knew a little bit about her from back in Baldur's Gate, but I had no idea what kind of person she was, and obviously she's become very powerful. Which I just took quite a hit there, but I don't know. But
Okay.
yeah, so I have
Hey,
no
you know,
idea.
So
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
know
I'm
from
gonna
where
cast
she-
suggestion. I'm gonna cast suggestion on Ursula. And I'm going to suggest to Ursula that she
What's the range of
recants
that?
all of her.
What's the
30
range on
feet.
that? 30 feet? Okay. So you go back to the rally?
Oh, no. Oh, do we leave the rally?
Yeah, we
You
backed
said
out.
you did.
Yeah, we kind of
Said you did.
strategically
Oh,
withdrew.
okay. All right. No, that's fine. We'll deal with her later. Sorry, I should have thought of this earlier. That's okay.
So I have a question. If we have some downtime, is there a spell merchant nearby?
I mean, there's not really merchants. You know, this is sort of the city moving, the people in the city moving back to the city. So there
Okay.
aren't like shops. What
All right.
what in particular are you
all
looking for?
I mean, if I went into town, the shops probably would not be open, is what I'm guessing.
Are you looking for
Right.
a scroll or a?
I wanted to see about a scroll. Yeah.
I've collected quite a few spells in my book. I could write a scroll out for you. What are you looking for?
Well, it occurred to me that me being the only person that can cast Revivify might
Oh.
not be the best idea.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
Yeah. And I
Ariel
wanted to see
does
if
sort
we-
of.
I could sort of cast it. Yeah.
Well, it would be best, I think, if we had a scroll of Revivify that allowed, if I was unconscious or, worse, if I was the one needing to be revivified, that would allow anybody who had it on their spell list to cast it, which I think would be Ariel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't even know if it is on Ariel's. Well, I guess it sort of is since I gave it to him. Yeah.
So I was just thinking, the more the closer
Revivifies we have.
the closer we get to our nemesis, the more we risk the possibility of one of us going down and needing to use the spell that we haven't used so far. So I just wanted to provide an option for more of us to do it than just me. I didn't realize that you've got an option there for the AP.
Yeah. So I can cast it, but then I'm just useless until I take a long rest. So it takes a lot out of me to cast it, but I can cast it.
Okay. But theoretically, we might be able to ameliorate that through having it on a scroll instead of casting it through your innate ability.
Sounds plausible. Can't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
I'd say it does sound possible.
If because of the city evacuation that somehow caused normal commerce to cease, we can do it another time.
So are you looking for a blank scroll so you can write it up? Is that what you're looking for?
I don't know if that would take me some time and skills, and I'm not proficient in Arcana, so I don't even know if that's something within my wheelhouse. But if not, I wanted to see if at the very least we could find somebody for whom we could contract to get it started.
You do see you see some religious communities. In fact, this being a city which is so into nature, the Melora religious community, you see them and you talk to them, and they don't have a scroll or Revivify handy, but one of their one of their elder sisters says, "Oh yes, I've written many scrolls in my time. I could get a scroll written like that for you by the morning." It would, I'm always happy to help one of my fellow followers in faith, and especially with such a positive spell. But it is expensive. It would be 300 gold pieces, worth of materials for me to make the scroll. So I would ask you to cover my expenses.
Would you give me a discount if I told you we were going to go use it to free Mirabar and the Temple of Melora there from the ravages of the frost giants?
Well, as I said, the cost to me would be 300 gold pieces.
Nice.
But I do have to recognize you just set my entire city free.
We did do that.
I'll give you whatever you think is appropriate, brother. We'll make it work.
We just got like 1 gold piece and 7 silver pieces from pickpocketing the crowd. So
That's
certainly I would think that goes towards this. How about 225?
Yes, that's the least I can do for the person who just set our
Fine,
town.
230 final offer.
Whatever you think is appropriate. We'll have it ready tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right, I decremented our gold.
Glad you're keeping track of that.
All right. Anything else you have an interest in doing before the evening comes? Okay. By evening, most of the people have moved back into the city. The Peklarabak crowd sort of moved en masse. You did not see Ursula when they were moving.
That's
So most people moved back into the city. The High Druid is still out there in his tent. Did you want your mother around, Khalifa, to be a part of this?
If she has other things to do, I can, the Archdruid or I can fill
Okay.
her in later, but not necessarily.
Okay, great. So he leads you to a hill sort of near his tent. And he says, all right, so I think she'll be arriving at this hill. They usually arrive at the highest point. It'll be quite a dramatic arrival. I suggest none of you stand too close to the top of the hill. And Brambrek says, like how close? Like this close? Drax, how close do you think is close to the top of this hill that we shouldn't stand? It's too dangerous. Is this too close? And he says, no, I really suggest you not stand too close to the hill. This will be it's not safe for you. Brambrek saying, oh, and what are you doing, Thrax? You going along with him?
Yeah, I might be going along with him. Thrax is
Right.
often cautious, but he's like, I'll follow behind you, but what's over the hill?
And the druid is saying, no, it's really quite dangerous if you're standing too close to the top of the hill when she arrives.
What, is she gonna squish us?
No, not like that exactly. But I mean, there is a reason they call them storm giants, and the clouds are sort of rumbling above you, actually.
Yeah, okay, there might be a point here. Maybe we should step back a few feet.
Brambrek says, Thrax, you're getting old.
You're playing Brett very well. Oh, okay then. All right. Let's see what we can see.
All
Hold
right.
me up. Maybe we'll see if we can get Thrax up on Brambrek's shoulders.
Okay. Yeah, not a
Yeah.
problem. You get it. Are you like standing like your feet are on his shoulders?
Yeah, we're doing that. We've got do I need to do an acrobatics check or something?
Not at level 12. You don't.
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
the Thrax is feeling cocky with his 149 hit points.
And the clouds start to roll, and sure enough, about 15 feet in front of you, boom, a big bolt of lightning comes down, and Brambrek is obviously hurt. He falls to the ground. He's trying to play it off, but he's singed, and he's obviously taken some damage. You, Thrax, the lightning sort of got to you, but you take
Really?
you take no damage.
Does the fall give me damage?
Nah.
Doesn't it do bludgeoning damage?
But Brambrek was obviously hurt by this lightning, but
Weird.
you were not.
It's that
Okay.
weird no damage thing again.
And standing in front of you is a large storm giant woman wearing like a, I don't know, what's she wearing? What do storm giants wear? I don't know. Something.
Toga.
Wearing like a toga, sure. Like a dress toga. Yeah, like a dress. And she walks down the hill, says, Elias, it is so good to see you. And he casts enlarge reduce on himself. And he goes from being 5.5 feet to 11 feet. And she casts the same spell on herself. And she goes from being like 28 feet down to 14 feet. And they pat each other on the shoulder in a friendly way, but they're, she's only like 3 feet taller than him after they each cast a large reduce on themselves. And she says, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Tell me about this confusion. Why are people thinking giants are attacking when they're actually not? And so he says, I don't know why it's confusion, but there certainly is giants attacking. And she says, he says, come down. And he walks down to where he's got like a campfire set, and they sit down, and all of you sit down and start talking. Do any of you want to say anything? First of all, she greets all of you. Says, nice to see you. Nice to see there are heroes still in the Forgotten Realms. I don't know who you are, but I know a hero when I see it. And good to see you're protecting the realms. Do any of you have anything you'd like to say to start it off? I mean, obviously Khalifa does.
But I thank her for coming and explain that we have heard of the, years of benevolent relationship with the storm giants and their leadership over the other giant tribes. And then I explain to her how the hill giants had overrun whatever city that is. No, the other one.
Baldur's Gate?
Baldur's Gate, and we're eating people as well as eating crops, and ruining the city in a manner most unbecoming of any civilized giant tribe. And
she's horrified when you say they're eating people. Horrified.
Although the cloud giants met with us in a civil manner in Waterdeep, they were invading by the hundreds and explained to us that they planned a benevolent overlordship of the city, and we did see that any resistance was met with swift death, and there was even somebody thrown, half a mile out over the ocean and surely perished.
And she's just, as you say this, she's looking more and more crestfallen, and she has her head in her hands, and
then I that there may be some other, cause behind this, and that the stone giants that tore into Silvery Moon seem to be duped into doing
stone
so.
Giants too.
Yes, but they we had some contact with them that revealed that they were duped into doing so by the Drow, who had an evil plot to try to take over the city. So the storm giants have since withdrawn and gone back into their own realm.
She says that the cause doesn't matter. There can't be violence between giants and small folk. It's There
Why do you
just
say that?
can't be. The
Why do you say
the
that?
price we have paid is too high for this to be possible.
What does that mean?
I have a story that I'll share with you. For all I know, you may be the only small folk, the only non-storm giants to hear this story. But this is why there can't be any violence. King Hecaton, my close friend, my king who I advise, when he was a young king, a woman came to the island where he was. She wasn't a giant. She wasn't a small folk. She was larger than all of you, smaller than all of us, hideously ugly, but obviously full of power. And she walked right up to the king, approached him, and asked him what he wanted to achieve as king. The king could sense her power, and he answered. He said his greatest goal would be to keep peace between giants and small folk. And she said she could do that, but she would demand a price. The price she demanded was his true love. Now, with the king I was with him. I was his nature magic advisor. He also had a sorcerer with him, his arcane magic advisor. Both of us sensed this woman had incredible power and could and would do what was agreed to in this deal. And she didn't give him much time to decide. She said he has to decide right now. And we could tell she was powerful enough to do it, and she would be bound by the deal. Now, this is before Hecaton was married. So when she said the price would be his true love, he thought he knew what that meant. He thought that meant he would remain a bachelor for the rest of his life. And he decided immediately that was worth the price that he would pay. He would give up love in order to keep peace between the giants and the small folk. So he made the deal for peace during his reign as king in exchange for his true love. Now, he thought he would never find love, but surprisingly enough, a few decades later, he began spending more and more time with his advisor, Neri. We thought it was impossible that he would fall in love, but then the love began to bloom. And they fell in love, they got married. So we thought, okay, maybe we misunderstood because there was peace, but he still had love. But we should have known it was too good, because then shortly thereafter, they had a baby boy named August. And you have never seen a father more in love with his baby. In hindsight, as soon as that happened, we should have known it was going to happen. One fateful night, 75 years ago, baby Prince August disappeared. And then we all knew immediately what had happened. The terms of the deal had come due. Hecaton had lost his true love, his son. We've searched, we've used all our magic. We cannot find August in this plane or any other plane. He's gone. So our king's heart was broken, but that's the price we pay. And in recompense, we get peace. Our king hasn't been the same since. He's been lethargic, he's been moping, but it's the price we pay. We paid that price for peace. And so that's why I'm saying there has to be peace. There cannot be violence between giants and small folk, because the king paid with his son to make sure there would be no violence.
And he paid years ago.
Yes.
What could have changed? Have there been any other visitors to your kingdom? And I describe Cooper Black and say that, this is a character that's been seemingly up to no good throughout the realm.
No small folk, no necromancers, no sign of any necromancy. No.
And
There
no
have a-
contact again with this woman who was there so long ago?
No. We now think that she was probably a hag. Hags have very powerful magic, as we know. We thought, and we knew that her magic was powerful enough to do what she offered. No, we've not seen the hag since.
Well, maybe she took you for a ride.
Did she sell pies?
No,
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 pies.
no pies. I mean, we think she was bound by the terms of the deal. She promised peace for his whole reign.
Someone has altered the deal. Pray they do not alter it any further.
I was right there when they made the deal. I heard her promise. And so when suggestions came to King Hekaton that giants were attacking small folk, he was irate. He was furious. The price he paid for peace was too high for anybody to suggest otherwise. And so he used his divine senses. He's very, very powerful. He used his divine senses to scan the Sword Coast and to see if there was any violence. And he confirmed for us, his court, no, there was no violence between giants and small folk. I've heard the stories you've told, but I know that my king reached out with his senses and he confirmed there is no violence. And I know that the deal I heard that means there can be no violence. So
Well,
I
our
don't know how
senses
to-
saw them. We were there. We watched these things happen.
We fought the giants.
We ended up fighting the giants.
small
If
folk
nothing
can be
else, us
confused
fighting the giants
sometimes.
Is a problem between small
Like,
folk
and
and
she
giants.
points at Brambrek. She's like, do you consider him a giant? Because he's taller than the rest of you. Maybe you're confused about what's a giant.
No, he's no giant.
Well, and my king has reached out with his divine senses and he's confirmed there's no violence. And I heard the agreement. I saw the magical seal of the agreement.
Well, it troubles me that something must have happened to your king then, because it's clearly his divine senses are not working as they used to.
Or it's not him. Are you sure that it's him?
Oh yes. I know my king. I've been by his side for over a century.
Is it possible that August is coming back or it can be found now? And that's part of the deal also?
Some bobcat scat.
There is no hope. Prince August is gone. We've searched this plane of existence and all others that we know of, and there's no sign of him.
But when was the last time you did it? With the breakout of this violence, maybe August is freed.
You're blowing my mind here. I don't know. We've searched for the past century. I'll talk with my other magical advisors and see if they want to search again, but every time it's just been a disappointment.
Well, what we can recommend to you is go somewhere like Mirabar, where giants are currently destroying small folk.
I
mean, you can
Okay.
claim it doesn't happen, but we saw it. We fought giants. It's happening right now. So I don't know what to tell you.
Come with us.
I was right there when they made the deal. I heard her say he would see no violence between small folk and giants during
Oh, wait. He would see no small.
Yes,
See,
he would see no violence between giants and small folk during his reign.
and he's
That was
not.
the deal.
He's not seeing it. He reached out with his sight. He's not.
No,
seeing
so you
it.
agree there's no violence.
No, I agreed that he's not seeing it. The deal was that he won't see it. It could be happening. He's not seeing it. That's why he can reach out with his sight and not see it.
He's blind to the violence.
That's not what we thought it meant. When
Well,
somebody says you won't see any violence, that's
Who is the lawyer? Who is the lawyer?
who
we
read the
sorta had to-
contract?
We had to make the deal pretty quickly. It was sort of
That's the way hags are.
yeah. You raise an interesting point.
Yeah.
You raise an interesting point.
Yep.
I don't know if my king will see it that way, though.
Of course he won't. He made a deal that he wouldn't see it that way.
But if what you're saying is true, then King Hekaton and the Storm Giants may be the only ones who can really put this to rest. So
Well, again, we'd encourage them to go to Mirabar and see what's going on there.
I don't think King Hekaton should go to Mirabar. I think he'll
No.
see nothing.
Someone else who can see maybe should go to
This is the
Mirabar.
kind of chicanery that I was warning about with treating with fiends. It's not that they won't keep their
It's a good
keep their
reminder.
word with the deal. It's that they will follow it to the letter and always have it in their favor.
and she says, you've given me something to think about. I fear even suggesting this to the king, fear suggesting that he gave up his son just to blind himself to reality.
If the king if the king would have us, we'd be happy to help him investigate this and work on this thread as well. But we need help focusing on the immediate threat of getting the giants out of these cities while we hunt this this necromancer, and then we can help him seek revenge on the fiend at some point in the future.
Yes. Okay, you've given me a lot to think about, and I may call on your help to discuss things with my king. You've blown my mind. You've changed my world. I'm gonna have to think about this. Maybe discuss with some other advisors. I'm not bringing it up to the king right now. But
Well, if you need any help
Nice.
convincing him, I may not look very intimidating, but I am.
well, you're no less intimidating than the rest of your friends. I understand.
Oh, you're just saying that because you're reduced in size.
Speaking of which, if you want to take the opportunity to go south of the city with Brambrick,
I wonder if the storm giant kings, King Hecaton's divine senses could seek out our quarry any easier than our bard's scrying spell.
What's scrying?
Or who among your court would be the most adept at seeking people out through magical scrying means?
She says that's not something we usually do. And the king's not going to be open to just doing favors for random people, but maybe once we're through all this. I don't know where we'll end up when we're through all this, but if things work out somewhat positively and you're an assistance to the king, then I'm sure he would love to be of assistance to you.
You've given us a lot to think about as well.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry that the king.
And you see,
Well-
like, there's a tear coming out of her eyes. She's thinking, not only did the baby prince get blitzed into nothingness 75 years ago, but it was all for nothing. This has really affected her.
Yeah, I'm sorry he was duped while trying to do something that was so noble and for the good of all parties involved. But it could happen to anybody. I wonder if we could track down that specific hag. That seems like a pretty tough, pretty cold case, as it were. It's dozens of years old, and all hags kind of look the same.
She says, what I know about hags is their magic is different. It's not arcane. It's not divine. It's not anything that anybody else casts. They're their own thing.
Yeah.
They see themselves as a sisterhood, and you may not be able to find them unless they want to be found.
Well, okay. Good to know. Good to know. If you need anything from us, if you need any additional witness or evidence to bring this to the king, let us know.
Yeah, she says, I might. Again, I have to think about how I'm going to raise this subject.
Wanna go?
If we find any additional helpful information, I'd like to be able to reach out to you as well. Since it seems like we're dealing with the aftermath of this, if you won't bring this to the king's attention to intervene, then we're gonna have to handle it.
Okay. She says, yeah, if you want to reach me, and she pulls out a conch shell, and she has a conch shell, and she says, just speak into this, and if I'm near my conch shell, I'll hear you speak.
The shell phone.
But just don't abuse it. Don't just
Shell phone.
Don't break call you.
So,
Don't abuse it. Told you never to call me here.
Telephone. It's a shell phone.
this is telephone, you're right.
Shell phone mixed.
Um,
Shell phone.
huh.
Shell phone.
Well, look around at my colleagues to see if anyone has anything else to say. I guess earlier I was going to ask you to show her your tattoo, Schmax, to see if she recognized anyone from your order there, but it sounds like we pretty much know what did it. It was some sort of fiendish hag, but hag.
It doesn't seem like there's any lead on Cooper Black through the Giants. So
Nope.
if Cooper Black's our priority, we're either dealing with Ursula or we're dealing with the Yugolos.
I think the Ursula thing is like here-ish, so maybe that's what I would vote for.
And potentially less
Right.
risky.
Refer
think?
you to my previous conversation about the Yugolos and the most recent evidence.
From the hag, yeah. We
Supporting
learned a
that.
thing. Well, then let's put our heads together and think about how we might isolate Ursula from 250 rabid followers, or whatever the number was. So we could get some information, whatever information she has about Cooper Black.
Hmm.
I mean, I think someone was looking for her at the end and she was no longer seen within the crowd, right? She's like gone somewhere.
But we don't know. I mean, we
We
didn't
get
see
to
her
go up.
obviously, so she may have gone.
She may have just blended in with the crowd.
I vote for whoever.
And maybe we could mingle into the crowd, try to get into the inner circle and try to get I don't know, get a signal, autograph or something, or to try to talk with her as the
Is there any version of us magicking her away? Meaning,
yeah.
teleport her away with us, or send her to another plane where we can brace her there, or just
Oh,
something
I
to
wanted
like
to blow her up.
zip her out of the crowd.
Yes, yeah, we can. I think if we take her into a teleportation circle that I've created, that'll teleport her. We could banish her, but that doesn't take her with her. We could dimension door her away from a crowd 500 feet, but I think that says willing creature.
And I do have this, I mean, the other thing that the teleportation circle sounds like the closest to what you're asking. I mean, I also have this arcane gate, this portal business.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Um,
the arcane gate would work for the instant, but in order to teleport her somewhere far, it would have to be the teleportation circle, which takes a minute to cast, like we did with Ledufius.
Right.
But yeah, the arcane gate could at least get her 500 feet away from where she is if we grappled her and drug her through it.
Or Eldritch blasted her through it. or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, I'll just blast
Or-
her.
I could,
Do it a
I
track.
Or
could
literally
suggest-
drugged her through.
I could just suggest that she come with us. And she could
Yeah.
tell her crowd to, just stay put. I'm going to go with these guys for a couple of seconds and we get her away that way.
Assuming, yeah.
Wisdom
it
saving throw
takes-
though.
Yeah, assuming it works.
I mean, here's what I would say, Neil. I mean, I don't know how wise she is, but I do know that whatever magic I was the recipient of was pretty powerful magic. And so I don't know how susceptible she'll be to various spells.
How about a good old stunning strike?
How about Neil goes and gets on his hands and knees behind her and we just bump into her and she falls over backwards into the thing.
What
I
if
thought
I
that's how
just
you did the
blew her up?
stunning strike. That's what I've been envisioning this whole time.
Or,
I wanted to blow someone up though.
So I guess we could go follow her.
Well, except we
Track her.
don't, we might be able to track her. We don't know where she was. I mean, it's possible she polymorphed or something to hide in the crowd itself, but we can see if we can find her.
But I mean, if she's serious about carrying on with these followers, we don't need to
Just follow the
necessarily follow
followers.
her. We just need to follow the crowd, right? And then eventually she may show herself.
Perhaps.
Is there any way we
Perhaps
could
her
put,
work here is done.
That's also a possibility, I suppose.
is there any way we could put some kind of tracking device on her or track her magically or something? The next time we see her?
So I don't have anything like that. I've got a locate creature spell available to me that would let me divine her presence if she was in 1,000 feet. But again, thinking about whether she might have some form of polymorphism going on, it wouldn't see through that kind of magic.
Hmm.
she's
Can
you said
we,
she has a stark white hair now, which is a little different than what she used to have. Ariel, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
The most
could
evil of
say-
can
all
we
hair
go back
colors.
to where,
Mhm.
go back to where she was and inspect the rock and see if there's any hair around there or she left something behind? That would help with scrying.
Okay. Yeah, you go back to where it was. It's muddy and it's been tramped down. It's like, Woodstock the next day or something. But you find the rock that she was standing on. It's dark outside. Yeah.
Well, we can cast some light thing that we have. I've got light.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who's the best at perception? Would it be Melvin and Schmax maybe, or?
Sure.
All right, Melvin and Schmax give me perception checks.
25.
Okay. Yeah, you do find some white hairs. You do find one of the pamphlets that you've found so many of, but with various notes just about elaborating, handwritten notes elaborating of good words and good phrases to use about how Peckler Bach has stood up for them when all the old gods and the government didn't, and some of the things you heard her saying. Just notes for that.
When we look at the white hair under the microscope at the CSI lab, is it painted white or is it, is there white on
It's
top
white
of
to the
rainbow color?
core.
Wow.
It's as white. Could it get more white? And no, none more white.
Huh, okay, so it's like Steely Dan white.
So it's night now, but earlier I was going to say if it was daytime, I could send my familiar into the air to look for someone with such a starkly white hair to see if they spotted him from above.
And I
But
have dark vision.
Mhm.
but I think
There are a few stragglers, and they're saying, "Oh, you're looking at the rock too? Yeah, that was pretty amazing." When she finished her speech, she just like sank into the rock. It was amazing. But but man, she really convinced. I mean, I was already. They're all. You know, 3 or 4 of them are talking. I was already convinced. Yeah, I was already convinced too. But she definitely convinced a lot of these other people. Yeah.
Did she say where her next show was going to be? Because, dude, I want
We
to
wanna
go
see this.
like rush around following her and see the shows.
No, I mean, I'm hoping she comes back here. But maybe the whole city's already following Peckler Rock. I would say go to a city that has a giant problem, and she'll be there vanquishing the giants and bringing the people back in safe.
I hear none of the cities have a giant problem. I hear it's all made up.
I don't know. I don't know. I've heard so many things, but all I know is we had giants and now we don't because of Peckler Rock.
Did we really? Or did we all just imagine it?
Yeah, no.
I heard that the Peckler Robot cast a spell on us to think we had giants.
Wow, wait, so you're saying the giant invasion was Peckler Robot's fault?
I think it was.
No.
Yeah, no, that's what I heard.
Mad. They're getting pretty
I
mad.
heard it was
about
his
that.
idea in the first
Like,
place. Yeah.
no,
That's-
Peckler Rock. There
That's-
was no Peckler Rock before the giants invaded. Peckler
That's
Rock came
crazy.
after and got rid of it.
So
I
what you're
think-
saying is when Peckler Robot showed up, the giants came? That's crazy.
No, definitely not.
I could just blow someone up.
Yeah.
That'd learn him.
Wow. Well, you've given me a lot to think about now that you told me Peckler Robot made the giants happen.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what happened. No, you're confused, friend. You're confused.
That's what a confused person would say.
Do we have any way to detect enchantment or magic or something to figure out why these people are so credulous?
Because people.
Credulous
Yeah.
me.
Have you learned nothing in the last 5 years?
Isn't that gullible?
Yeah, gullible creatures.
Yes. Very good.
I
Um,
really want to blow someone up.
so there is a spell of a divine nature in which clerics and maybe druids can meld with stone for up to 8 hours and just rest within a rock wall. It just struck me the way he described her disappearance as just kind of going into the stone, that it sounds very similar to what I've heard of some folks doing. I don't know of a way to divine whether she's literally still within this stone, and I don't know if it's something that can be dispelled.
Why don't we just take the rock with us?
Oh yeah, good idea.
It's like a boulder, but
Put it
if
on a
it's,
disc. We got a disc.
yeah, the disc does have a weight limit, and we'd have to lift the stone onto it also.
Teleport it.
So I could cast Dispel Magic.
What if I just blew it up?
Yeah, you got a good suggestion, but still.
I mean, if we're thinking that after this we're going to be resting for the evening, you know, you burning a spell slot is not a problem. So
we could try to dispel it, and I don't
Let's dispel
have
it.
spell
See
magic.
what
ready.
happens. I've got Dispel Magic too. It's not we've got double
Yeah.
coverage on that one.
You do good.
Or
That's
I
right.
could just blow
Alright.
the stone.
Stop saying that.
Fine.
All right. So I'm going to cast Dispel Magic on the rock.
Okay, nothing happens.
All right.
maybe she was never really here.
Maybe
Maybe it was just a
Hologram.
hologram. Exactly.
I do have
Projection.
one more idea in case that is not something that can be dispelled. I do have transmute rock to mud prepared. So I'm gonna have people back away because it affects like a 40-foot area, and I'm gonna cast transmute rock to mud on this big giant rock to just have it fall away in case she's hiding in there.
That's pretty sweet.
All right, you do that, and it flows into a pile of mud, mixing with the rest of the muddy area that have had people stomping on it all day.
All right. Well, that didn't work, but it was totally worth it because I hadn't used that
It
successfully.
totally worked to turn that rock
maybe-
into mud. You did exactly what you wanted.
So,
Maybe
so
she's really an earth
it's at night,
element.
right? It's at night, so
Twenty-
we're about to get a long rest anyway, right?
Mhm.
We
So
hope.
I'm gonna cast.
Unless you're
Well, why don't I
attacked. I
cast
mean,
scrying?
just saying. Okay.
I'm gonna cast scrying. Let's find where she is. I'm gonna cast scrying. I've met the target, and we have a piece of her hair. So
And her pamphlet, presumably.
yeah, are they cumulative? So I'm not sure how to read the save modifiers on
Yeah, it's confusing to me too.
scrying.
I think it could be cumulative, or maybe it's just the highest one, I guess.
I think it's
That would be-
cumulative.
Makes sense.
Okay. So it'd be minus 14. So she's got to throw a 29.
Well, I'll say when
Do a
you
wisdom save.
when you cast scrying, you find a magical barrier. You're not able to scry on her. Sort of like what happened last time somebody tried to scry on Cooper Black.
Jerks.
Dang it.
Well, that's an easy way to get out of figuring out how the spell works.
Well,
I'm getting really frustrated. That Yugoslav contract is starting to look good.
we could just do it the old-fashioned way and put out some feelers with some of her cohorts here and have them pass along the message if they find her to
If they see her.
But-
Yep.
let her know we want to talk.
Last idea, I could invoke, my channel with Melora and Divine, use this spell divination that lets me inquire with Melora about something that we want to happen, about a way to find her or to find Cooper Black. But I don't know exactly what question I would ask or how useful an answer we would get. But I'm more than willing to try.
Hey Jay,
Thrax likes it.
Yes.
are my fans from my performance still around?
No.
Okay, but there are still a few stragglers around.
Yeah, a few people. The people you were just talking and sort of offended by suggesting that Beckler Bach was behind the Giants.
Okay.
They're sort of starting to wander
So I'm
away.
gonna see. All right. So just in case, she's unlikely to come back here within the next 8 hours. So that's work.
Hey, Jay,
Mhm.
I'm gonna cast divination.
Okay.
I don't
You're
want to
gonna-
ask
All right.
The point of contact point for us.
how, where will we find Ursula?
About a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days.
So my goal is finding Ursula.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to give us until the morning before I have an answer, that's
No, you get an answer. The answer is the hedgehog burrows underground and only comes above ground when it is advantageous to do so.
What?
hmm.
No sense.
Yeah, these Oracle types.
Hmm. The hedgehog. So the fox is clever and the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one thing.
That's what they say.
Interesting. All right, well, I relate that to the party.
Drat. Another one has slipped through our fingers.
Another what?
Well, it indicates we might find her below ground, perhaps.
Perhaps, but I think it's more metaphorical. She's in an underground as far as in her network of hiding, and will not be out of hiding until it suits her.
Melora is often metaphorical.
Well, I wouldn't fault you for using the Yugoloth contract. I can't imagine we'll get another chance. Can't imagine we'll get another chance with her right here tonight. Maybe some of these followers know if she's planning another rally here or elsewhere, and we could try to meet her at that spot.
We just asked and they said no. They didn't
Oh,
know.
sorry, I missed that. My bad.
They were hoping she'd come back here.
But just to hope.
Yep.
And now that there's no rock, she just
Yeah, I mean, why would she come back here? There's no rock.
doesn't have her pulpit. Curses.
Well, I think we've done the damage we can for the evening. Perhaps we ought to take the opportunity to take a long rest.
Yeah.
Yep,
Start fresh in the morning.
especially Ariel.
Yeah.
Oh, I remembered I was going to use my Tomb of Fluttershy as a reaction, and that absorbs the damage. But I
Oh, it
still
did?
didn't think- Yeah,
Nice.
Our owl is raising.
or not. It's probably a story better if I don't. So let's say I didn't. Better for
But
the story.
Our owl has raised his wing. I wonder what he has to
I think
contribute.
he wants to blow stuff up.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
see.
correct. Test it out because
I was suspicious.
I came up with a
Hey, hey, hey.
for the missile and I want to try it.
Hey, Calvin,
Well,
does my shirt look better than your dad's shirt, Calvin? What do you think?
Yeah, even though it's the same.
Who wore it better?
It's great.
well, yeah, we could take a rest and regroup, and if we don't think of anything, plan to activate that contract first thing in the morning. Unless you convince me I had something else to do, but
We could do that, or we could. You'll need to just spend about 30 minutes or so attuning to it, right? I think doesn't it take a short rest to attune?
The attunement's really to get those other benefits. The contract, you just activate it.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't have to. That makes sense. Yeah, the blind sight.
So is the contract something that, I mean, it's the existing contract between,
It said once the existing contract is expired, which was a Midsummer's Day, then it could be used to summon a Yugoloth for a new contract. So this is not a contract anymore. It's
do
a
we,
expired
do
contract.
we have something to offer in the exchange for finding the Wand of Orcus?
Not as far as souls or anything like that. I guess we would have to see
What
this
the
Yugoloth
Yugoloth want?
explainer being wanted. Yeah.
yeah, that is concerning. I mean, it's not going to come cheap, I'm sure. They're not going to do it for free.
Okay. Something to sleep on, perhaps.
Or have nightmares about.
Yeah. Just Yugoloth.
When you say that, Brambrecht looks a little uncomfortable. He's like, "Why are you talking about nightmares?"
Yeah. Well, So are we back in the encampment on the south side of town then, or where are we?
I don't know. I mean, you were at the parade grounds or whatever. You could go into the city. You could go. I mean, most of the people have gone back into the city.
Yeah, unless we wanted to like dip out of the city tonight, I think let's go back into the city and crash there.
Are there holes in the walls?
We could actually go to my house. I don't know, it's not the biggest, but you know, we've got a futon and some extra straw and you know things we can lay out on the ground and pull out mattress and stuff. So we could make room, and you know, my mom makes a killer hot cocoa, so we could. I guess I probably should have asked her that, but I offer that we could go there.
Wait,
Crash.
so when you say we can go to my house, you're really offering your parents' house.
Right. Oh, that's right. That's right. It's
That's what
totally
happens when you play D&D. You revert to being 12.
We could totally live with his parents. And
Is
so,
there a
Alright,
curfew?
Let's go to Ladufius's house.
Let's do it,
Crash
dude.
there.
stop. It's really disruptive.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe we can just crash there.
All right. So you go up to the house, you open the door, and your mom and dad are like looking into each other's eyes, and then you walk in. You're like, oh,
Obviously,
Khalifa and
I would not-
Khalifa's friends. How nice to see you.
Can I have some Kool-Aid and a hot pocket?
I'm just so glad to have my husband back after I thought he was dead and haven't seen him in over a week. But it's so nice. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you that you're the reason he's alive. Thank you once
Right.
again.
Right.
You've saved both of us now at this point.
I thought we could have a sleepover.
true.
Mom.
The downstairs is yours.
Okay.
There's
Party in the
microwave
basement.
popcorn.
You're very kind.
Is there a rumpus room?
Oh,
Guys
It's
can play
actually just a-
PS5 as late as you want.
You guys are making me hungry for snacks.
I know.
what do you mean? You had like 2 servings of dinner.
I'm still hungry
Snacks.
though.
Growing
Smack,
boy.
smack.
Snacks for
All right.
snacks. I'm gonna go get some snack mix.
All right, I'm going to throw out that it's 10:30, so I would suggest decide: are you activating the contract? Are you leaving town without activating the contract? Are we calling it a night? We could call it a night. There's nothing.
I think
nothing
we
against that.
we should ponder this week. You know,
Yeah,
I think
I'd be fine with calling it a night and then
Yeah.
being ready to decide. I mean, presumably activate the contract unless something else comes up, but that's, I think.
yeah,
the-
but I think this was enough to get us sort of back in what's at stake and what the worldview are. It's a lot of like resetting
Yes.
what's happening.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, this has been really helpful, like
Yeah,
reloading
for
all
me
this
too,
stuff
just to
into
remember what the heck's
memory.
going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And you guys got to see my pad.
I just can't wait for when last we left our heroes and they were eating microwave popcorn in Khalifa's mom's basement, trying to get a long rest, but stayed up till 3 a.m. drinking Dr. Pepper and playing D&D.
It's a game within a game within a game, right? Infinite recursion.
Nice.
All right.
Cool. Very cool.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
I'm,
Jay.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah.
I'm glad to be
this is
back
great.
on track.
Yep.
Ben, let's get our heads together this week.
Sounds good.
See what's going on with Thrax. All
All right.
right.
So Jay Wood, stick around for a minute if you would.
Sure thing.
See you guys.
All right.
Adios.
Well,
Good night.
Bye-bye.
I'll stop recording.